Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. We're continuing my series of races in this year's BRKC, and we're about to start round 2, heat 6, my second race of the day. So, what BRKC does for the two middle rounds, rounds 2 and 3, is that they change the layout of the track to a completely alternate layout, which kept top secret up until the moment the marshals start pulling the old track apart and putting the new one together. So you often find all the drivers at the top of the red staircase trying to figure out what's going on and put a plan together, talk about the best way to possibly drive this new track. But any ideas that you might have had, this is the first chance you get to experience what the new layout is. So we're on our outlap from the pits at the moment, and as of last race, you remember that we then do a fly-in lap, which is our quali, and then we get the results and line up ready to start the race. So I'm just feeling what's going on, what the kart's doing. There's been an hour's break before this to refuel and give the staff a break. So things have cooled down a bit, but let's see what we can do for quali. So keep it all the way to the left, shove it over the hairpin there, keep your foot to the floor, build momentum as much as you can, build some speed, but the straight has been cut in half, so you're not going to get to top speed. That really wasn't the tidiest way to take that corner, and into what would have been the sail, a lot of opposite lock there. I'm pushing a bit too hard when it's too cold. Through the slalom, not too bad. Down to the end of the straight. I took that a bit too tight, which would have cost me there, having to brake too hard. And the final corner. So I remember feeling that that lap just wasn't great. I thought I was done for. But let's see what it got us.
Just looking over there at this, have we got any?
Checking the live stream footage.
A 1/10 pole there from
We've come in third, and I was absolutely over the moon with that because I thought I was going to be 10th. What with that quali lap? But if you can look for my times, I'm over 6.5 tenths off of the lead. It was not a good lap compared to what Sven and Bren van der Eide could do. And I can only imagine everybody else experienced the same issues that I had. Either they were overdriving or just not confident. So I didn't 100% know that my lap was over 6.5 tenths off. So I kind of thought the lines I was taking was probably the best way to drive this track. And I guess as the race gets going, you'll see what I could really do, how I was driving. We're just waiting for the grid to form up.
The sixth of the heats in round 2 of 4. And for these drivers, it's the first time on the revised layout, the secret revised layout.
And away we go. So Sven Hendrickson is taking the lead.
In the gap between the first and second round of heats. Now
I want to try and hold third place as long as possible. This is the highest qualifying I've ever had at BRKC, and like I said, I was ecstatic by it. So race is going. Checking behind me, there's a bit of commotion behind me. I'm going to try and use that to my benefit. Defending a little bit. I thought Ross Honeyman was a bit closer than he was.
Yes, it is Michael Rayner, and
still not as controlled as they need to be. Entrance to the snail.
Turning in there, Sven Hendrickson on that hairpin at the bottom, round the long left, and then the right, and then a right-hand 90-degree turn across the start-finish line. It's
Sven and Bran are already pulling on me.
Sven Hendrickson into that hairpin there, avoiding the barrier on the left. That comes really
taking a bit of a defensive line, although I don't really need to. I could have gone wider there. I'm all over the place. It was very tricky. Like I said, as fun as this layout was to drive, I just found it quite difficult. And you should never blame your tools, blame your kart, although we love to. The excuse book is like an encyclopedia. But kart 16 just felt really odd. It had a rumble from one of the tyres. I can't remember which one it is now. I almost thought it was a loose wheel. Thought it might have come off halfway through the race, and then there would have been a red flag and swap the kart. But it was it was throwing me. I was
Brad.
really having to wrestle it, as you can see.
Has an enormous pace advantage over
Clipping the barriers there, and
everybody
look at that
behind
gap.
Van der Ende.
Huge,
He's got
huge
7
gap
or 8
already.
tenths on the car in third
It's really,
position. That is
not happy
that's
with
the
my lines.
margin of his performance gap here. And for any of those of you out there who figure out which driver is which by using their helmet design, good luck in this race. 7 of the 10 drivers with a plain white helmet, so we're going to be using the suits and the numbers.
Well, fortunately for me, I tend to go on suits, Brad, I have to say.
Now, you see me looking around, I'm checking, and I believe Ross has really gained and come up to me. Ross Honeyman, he's on the back of me, so I'm going to be driving very defensive to try and hold this third place.
Hendrickson leads the white helmet of Bram van der Ende, followed by the dark helmet of Michael Rayner. It's sort of a dark grey, a very dark grey, kind of a gunmetal colour. Ross Honeyman, I think he's another one who's going white with Andy Roberts. Anyway, so have we any in the pitch? No, we don't.
You see, coming up to here, it's really quite tight. I'm really holding it. So noted Ross could not dive on the inside. And what I really want him to do is to pit. I want him to think, I can't get past me, I'll pit and get into clean air. And it went on like this for quite a while. I'm just trying to hold him off, hoping that he would pit. And really, you see, I'll go over this at the end, but it could kind of be my downfall. You've got to understand the skills that I can see there on the footage. Ross is right up behind me, so that's why I'm driving so defensive. These are not the perfect lines to take. They are slow. I am being a bit of a roadblock. That's why I'm going tight to the inside there and not carrying momentum through. And we'll see how this plays out. So I'm going to be watching the footage, understand that I'm driving defensive, and just trying to hold everyone else up behind me, holding on to this third place for dear life. And yeah, I'll check back in a bit.
Third position, Bram van der Ende is just kind of keeping him in touch, although the gap is increasing. We're still very, very early in this race, though, so it's going to depend on how much the cars behind get on top of theirs. On that last lap, van der Ende was only a tenth behind Hendrickson's lap, although third position, Michael Rayner, was still 8 tenths. And on that lap, 9 tenths of a second difference.
Yeah, and Bram van der Ende is very quick indeed. He's been a European champion in the junior level, and he's 17 years and he's transferring it to the senior level. So we know he's got some serious speed. Sven Hendrickson was somebody that we had probably a greater number of question marks over him over Bram van der Ende, and certainly Hendrickson's answering them in no small measure in this race. He's really opening up that lead. He's got 7 laps in and he's managed to pull it up to almost 2 seconds. So Sven Hendrickson is laying down the lap times. As you can see there, typical of rental karting, he's not necessarily using all the road, and sometimes there's a fine balance between speed and distance, and Sven Hendrickson does seem to have that measure perfect. So we can see in some areas like this, yes, he will go all the way to the outside, but we'll pick up on certain parts later on where he's using actually all of the road. As he comes round to the final corners there, he's going to use all the road here and here. That's in the new hairpin, the first corner. But as we move through this bit, see how he's hugging it tight all the way, moving to the middle of the road, then back tight, middle of the road, then back tight, and he's going to turn in the middle of the road. As that, into the pits, Anthony.
Yep,
Okay, so as you know, I am driving defensive. We can see it there on the footage. It's plain as day. The light, this is not the way you drive a go-kart track. I am blocking the road from somebody who's right up my arse, which is Ross Honeyman. Let's just bring the live stream footage in, and you'll be able to see him right there behind me. He is breathing down my neck, and I'm holding him off as much as possible. Like I say, I want him to pit, relieve a bit of pressure off myself, which he does this lap. And this is going to play a position, play a part in when I pit. Where do I come out? Where does he come out? So Ross in the pits, 2 decent stops, comes out 8th in front of Conrad Bellick. And see me there, who's behind me, who's my next challenge? It's a chap in the orange suit. It's Anthony Roberts, who's part of the BSR racing team. Anybody with an orange suit, part of BSR, you know they're a force to be reckoned with. So I already knew I had my work cut out for me. On the live stream there, we can see Conrad Bellick's just got past Ross Honeyman. That's, you know, this is all going to play a part for when I eventually pit. I haven't got third place in the bag. I'm not safe. So we'll see how this plays out. I know that Anthony Roberts is behind me. I'll be checking. He'll be catching up with me because these lines are still not the best. Like I said before, this third place has kind of threw me a bit. I did not expect to be that high. I didn't realise I was 6.5 tenths off pole, and I thought, hey, maybe this is the way I'm supposed to drive this. So it's kind of, although I'm not as under as much pressure with Ross right breathing down my neck, I'm not driving my best. It's not the best way to drive around this track. So we'll see how this plays out, and I'll check back in a bit.
To pull him forward and in turn leapfrog people as they come into the pits, but yeah, Brad, you've got.
And I think Bielak is actually very nearly in a net third position already. So even having lost a little bit of time there, so he's 21 seconds behind the leader, and third position is about 10 seconds behind the leader. So add another 10 seconds onto that, it's about 20. So he's nearly done the job already.
Well, that's impressive, really, isn't it? I mean, you know, as you say, he's nearly done the job already. You're listening there to the voice of Brad Philpott. He's not racing this weekend. He's up here with us, and he's doing the effectively the data analysis. He's got a whole screen worth of stats there, and he's looking permanently at these times to figure out what's actually going on. It's all very well us saying this looks like this is happening, but he's got the numbers there right in front of him, and he's going to be giving us that information throughout the meeting. And the information he's given us basically suggests that Bielak is on the charge, and we can see that visually. Brad, he's getting even faster. How close is he to the fastest lap for this race?
So he's 3 tenths off of what Hendriksen's doing, but Hendriksen is a complete outlier in this race. He's in a race of his own out front. Yeah. So if we ignore him, then he's very, very close to the pace of Bran van der Ende in second place. I don't think he's going to get that high up. I think the gap to that position is too high, too big, but I think he's in a net P3 right now, so he should take a podium if he carries on exactly like this.
Well, that's very interesting, because what did he start? Ninth position.
So, it's a great comeback.
So that'll be one of the comebacks of the meeting so far. And we're talking about...
Okay, so at this point, Anthony Roberts is breathing down my neck just the same as Ross was. They are proper catching up to me, and he's just dived into the pits. I'm checking around, I can't believe it, he's not behind me. He must have pitted, so he's obviously been stuck behind me. He feels I'm faster than Mitch. I'm going to pit, I'm going to jump him in the pits, because the lap times I'm putting in is way faster, so by the time I pit, he would have made it a position. Now, I know he's pitted, and I felt like he was more of a challenger, being a BSI driver, than Ross. Raised my hands, and I think it's time to pit. I'm going to try and stay in front of Anthony. First gate, green, perfect. Stop for the second. I'm a bit far over the line. I had to wait a bit longer. And I'm out.
Yes, and Rayner's come out side by side with somebody. Is that Roberts? He came out
side by side. So I managed to stay in front of Anthony Roberts. That was the goal I wanted, and I'm just going to be back defending again. It's going to be so frustrating for Anthony, just the same way that it was for Ross. And I really, you know, I don't have my head in the game. I should be thinking a bit smarter than this. Constant defending this whole race from both of these drivers. I'm just slowing myself down. You've got to have the foresight to see when you should maybe let somebody through. And essentially, if somebody else goes in front of me, I'm not under pressure. I'm not defending all the time, so I should be able to drive faster and better lines. You don't win a race or hold a position, especially with pit stops, by just defending the whole race. My head is not in the game. But let's see where this plays out. I'm still going to try and hold Anthony up. What can he do?
The people behind them, so it's really going to be a battle for fourth place. That's the position that is kind of contested. There's half a second between Ben Chick and Hayden Harris, who are battling over that P4.
And the net result of the
okay, obviously still defending hard, but I think it's playing its toll on me, because that was a stupid mistake, that corner, and it's really going to be my undoing, as you'll see. If Anthony was close up behind me before, he's really got the run on me now. And as we get to the end of the straight, he goes for his move, and he gets past me, which is fair enough. He's gone for it. I think that was a pretty clean move. I could see him coming.
Let's see. I'm going to keep looking through.
I'm not
these,
going
see
to
if
make
any
a big
other
fuss about
battles
it.
shape
He
up,
was a
but
better
as it
driver.
stands, awesome job
Got
by
past me,
Conrad
but
Bilat.
now,
So when we've been talking about
now we can
pit
see
stops, we tend to have been
that I do have another
talking
driver behind me,
around
but
about
I'm thinking I'm going to
10.1
learn
seconds.
from Anthony.
So if we call that around
I
10
know he's a
seconds,
great driver, so
those
let's
of
see
you
how
that are
he
watching on
drives.
the live stream,
Try
if
and
you have a
copy
look
his
at that,
lines. I
little
haven't had
scoreboard
this
to the
opportunity
left of your
before.
screen, you'll see that
Everybody's
the
just
driver
been
we're
pitting
really
behind
talking
me as
about,
I've been
Conrad Bilat.
defending.
Now, he's been in the pits. He's
And
22 seconds, as you can
if
see
we
there,
analyse
behind
my
the
footage
leader,
close
Sven
enough, you'll
Hendrickson.
just see that I'm
Now,
driving the
if
track
you then
so much
factor the
better,
10 seconds
and
that it's gonna
my lap
cost
times would be so much
Azevedo,
faster
Harris
copying
and
how
Chick
Anthony's
to
driving.
come in and out
And
of
it
the
was a
pits.
bit of
You
a
can
light
see
bulb
there
moment. I was
that,
like, this is
that's
how
gonna
we're
make
supposed
quite
to
a
wrestle the
difference.
car
In
around this track.
if you
This
consider
is how we're
Bilat
supposed to take
22
these
behind,
lines,
21,
not how I got my
Chick,
third position.
21 Harris. This is actually going to be a close fight for position right there.
Trying to
and
learn
so,
from what he's
let's
doing.
have a look at this now.
I've got Ross
that
behind
looks
me
like
again,
it is. In
and this
fact,
is why the
Hayden
pit stops
Harris
were
was in
crucial.
the lead
And I
group.
guess
That's
following
it.
Anthony,
In the
increasing my lap
completely black
times
suit, the black
has
suit
really
with the red
helped me
bits
stay
on
in
it
front of
is
Ross.
Ben Chick, and that's Conrad Bilat right
Already
behind,
feeling
I
more
believe.
confident in
I'll
my
have a
driving,
closer
being
look at that,
behind
'cause
Anthony.
It doesn't seem right, but
Always easier to
really
follow
made
than
it
it is
up.
to lead,
He's a pit stop
especially
ahead
when
of
you're
that,
defending.
that little
But he's
battle,
called to
effectively.
actually on the track as well.
So,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
keep an eye on
They've
how I'm
still got to
driving.
make their stop, and
It
he's
is
already done his.
miles
He's
better
right
than when I was
Sven
defending
Hendrickson
against
in
him
the
and Ross.
pit lane.
Race leader in
And
the pit lane. It's a good
we see
stop
how
on
this
gate
goes.
1. Gate 2 also very good under the watchful eye there of Ruben Booth as he was watching, and it's a good stop. It's a 10-1. It's not the best, but it's not terrible.
Well, he just needed to get in and out without any aggro.
Uh-oh.
He's
Bang.
got a decent lead. That's why he
Stupid
builds up
mistake.
such a
Shake of
lead.
the head.
I
Not
tell you
happy
what,
with
though,
that.
your
Really
earliest
lost
pit stopper,
momentum there
Bilat,
and
he's
here.
now caught
Having
on
to
merit.
push
We
the
were
car
looking at him
again,
actually
get the momentum
passing,
going.
Harris
And
Chick,
it's really put
on
Ross
the fact
right
of
up
the pit
behind me
stop.
again,
You
just like we
leapfrogged
were
them when they
from the
came
beginning
in,
of the race.
but he's, actually in
I'm going to have to
contention
start
do
defending him
it
from
on
Ross
the
again.
track,
But
in the pits.
Yeah, it's
my
now,
lines are a bit
Brad
different,
van
having
der
learned
Eyden
from
who's
Anthony.
pitting,
I'm
and
going to
gate
try
1 is
and reel him
green,
back
gate
in.
2 is green. Hendrickson's gone past, but he's got a solid P2 here. Big gap between himself.
So there is a battle going on with Bilat and Chick there, which unfortunately for Chick, it isn't actually for a real position. I think Chick is just pointlessly losing himself time here by battling back past a kart that's much faster, who's effectively 10 seconds ahead of him when pit stops are factored in. So the fight that Chick is putting up here, as spirited as it is entirely pointless, is costing him time and is potentially costing them penalties if they start clattering into each other. So the most sensible thing would have been for Chick to accept that he'd been overtaken and then just try and tag onto the back of the much faster Bilat.
Well, and you know what the interesting thing there, Brad, is that slightly out of camera shot, Chick lost the position to Bilat and then got it back. So kind of, for all the wrong reasons, kudos to Chick for taking it, but he's probably unaware that maybe Bilat has actually made a pit stop. He would assume that someone making a pit stop would be further back than that. And
this is why the drivers who are switched on enough to read the timing screens whilst they're going around, and I guarantee all of the top guys in the same position that Chick's in here would realise that Conrad Bilat was not in the same race as them, that he was, like I said before, a pit stop ahead, and so would just not have been fighting, defending, and certainly battling back. You lose so much time by going offline to attack or defend. So,
and that's also the difference, Brad, between being in the Blue Star team and the BSR team, where you've got teammates who are on top of that situation. So even if you don't look at the scoreboard yourself, you've got people doing some thinking for you. There's no kart to pit radio or anything like that. It is all done from the side of the track, but it is deceptively easy to get the message across. Now Ben Chick, he's out there for a great time, isn't he? He's looking to just hang on in there and look good as long as he can. He's looking good in 5th place, but I don't think Bilat is going to find that Ben Chick pulls into the pits anytime soon. I think Chick's going to leave it quite late, to be honest.
Now, if I was on Bilat's team here on the sidelines, I'd just be telling him to be cool, be calm. He's much quicker than these karts in front, but he doesn't actually need to pass them at the moment until they pit. He has the gap to just slot into 3rd place when the kart's ahead, including Edgar Azevedo, who's not in this picture here. He's going to just slot into 3rd place anyway. He's only around 5 seconds behind the kart in 3rd place, so he's easily got a nice big gap when everyone pits. And even at this pace, he's not really falling away from Azevedo significantly.
Yeah, so Conrad Bilat, the one with the yellow bits on his suit that we're seeing on screen there, the one at the back of this pairing here, he's the one we're talking about. He's actually effectively a pit stop ahead of those two in front. Now, he will obviously leapfrog them when they come in, but his best result he can take from this race now, and probably right from the start, was third place. And he's online to get that because Edgar Azevedo, who's up in third place, is only 5 seconds up the road, and we're allowing for a cool 10 seconds for a pit stop. So Bilac, it is very important that he stays calm now. Yeah, Ben Chick is getting racing in front of him. Ben Chick's having a great race out there, and he's going to be feisty. He's already been feisty, and he's going to be feisty again. So what Bilac doesn't want to do is allow Chick to put him in a position where he ends up bumping him, ends up getting penalties, and for no reason whatsoever loses that third place. This is just patience time for Conrad Bilac. Oh, and he's down
So I'm really defending hard here against Ross. As you can see, kart coming there side by side with me. That's him. He's pushing hard. He spent long enough behind me before his pit stop, and he's found himself behind me again. It's me losing time to Anthony, defending from Ross, and yeah, it's just like I say, this foresight of letting people through to drive faster.
Okay,
as there's still people to pit, you know, there's still people to pit, so they're still going to lose time, still gain positions potentially, but I have to be driving better than this. I have to have a better foresight of the race, but we're still going to defend hard from Ross, as is the game plan there and then. It will play out a certain way, as you'll see. And there's Edgar coming out the pits, so he's taken his pit stop for the race, and has found himself between Anthony and myself. And I'm thinking, well, Edgar's actually part of BSR. He's not in the orange suit. He's fairly new to the team. He's one of their juniors, but he's got the team on the sidelines coaching him, giving him advice where they can, hand signals, etc. And yeah, I think I've got another BSR driver. I can follow him. I can learn from this guy's lines. Don't want to lose any more positions. Let's try and drive as fast as we can. But Ross is still breathing down our necks, and we know he's going to try and make a move where he can.
But it's enough to help him in his
we'll see where he potentially does it.
Because when they were out on track before Ivan made a pit stop, Harris had a second or so lead over Ben Chick. So a blundered pit stop would have cost him dear, and heaven help him if he actually had to come in and do it again because he jumped the lights.
Okay, and there he goes. Ross has made his move. I didn't feel like it was quite as clean as the one that Anthony made on me. Even though it was in the same place, I was defending the line a lot harder. I did feel the contact from behind and in the side when Ross was coming through. But he was coming through no matter what. He was obviously really frustrated with me holding him up all this time. But I know he's faster than me because I never gapped him. He was always up behind me. I could never pull away from him. So I'll try and stay up behind Ross as much as possible. With what I've learned from following Anthony and Edgar, try and drive a better race and keep up with Ross. But he's going to be reeling Edgar in, and if I can stay behind him, potentially I could take advantage and follow him through if there's an overtake and gain a position. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Try and keep our heads down, try and concentrate, and yeah, stay focused. It's probably what I've been lacking in this race. The foresight and the focus. The kart's hard to drive, like I said, but with what I can feel from the steering and the front wheels. But hey, don't blame your tools, just be better. So we'll see how this plays out.
You know, that's exactly right, and that is everything. The limit of the damage, yeah. And so if you can't be making tons of points, limiting the damage there is key. Now we're looking now at the midfield battle there. That is 5th, 6th, and sort of 7th as well, because we've got in the blue suit there. That is Edgar Azevedo. He's been chased really hard there by Ross Honeyman. Ross Honeyman's really on the case of Azevedo there. And Michael Rayner's trying to join in at the back of that pairing there. There they are. So 1, 2, 3, Azevedo, Honeyman, Rayner on screen as they come into that hairpin, which is just after the start line. So there is Azevedo, there is Honeyman, and there in picture is Rayner. As they come to that tight little head end, getting it pinched in there nicely was Edgar Azevedo. Great little turn in there. Really got the karting flick down to a T on that one. Azevedo's not someone we've talked about too much, but he has been a regional and national.
Okay, so Edgar
finalist
is
in the
defending
British
from
Rental
Ross
Kart
extremely
Championship. That's
hard,
more
which is what he has to do. Ross is a very competent, fast driver.
obviously, you know,
There's not
he
really
had to
anybody
really
in
sort
front
of,
of Edgar for him to chase
hit
down to
the
try and
seriously
overtake,
hard
so he's going to
stuff
hold
now in the
position
BRKC,
for the rest
but
of the
it's a
race.
good showing there by Edgar.
Sven
Yes, he's running in
is
fifth
just
place, and
about to
crucially,
take the
he
win.
stayed
There he
ahead,
goes.
but the win has gone now.
So this is the
It's
last lap of the
Sven
race,
Henriksen. Sven
and any
Henriksen
moves
takes the win.
that
And
need to
there's,
happen
Brad
happen
van der Ende,
on this last
has
lap.
come through. Where's Conrad
Otherwise,
Bielak?
there's
He's
no
some way
option
back
for
from there,
Ross
but
to
he
get
is
through.
in
So
place.
he
It's
knows
a huge
this,
gap to Conrad
and he is
Bielak. And here
going
comes
to
Bielak now
try
around
and
the hairpin
make
through
a
the
move
final
right
corner.
here.
The flag now for third
Kind
place.
of
That
wasn't
is
quite on.
probably
Edgar
the,
defends.
the
I take the inside
highest
line,
grid movement we've
and
seen
I
so
think I've
far
gained a
today
position there. But
and
Ross
at the
comes,
weekend.
pushes
Conrad
through,
Bielak,
and sends
There's been a
Edgar
spin.
90
There's been a
degrees.
spin on the final corner, and
Now,
the
I've crossed the line
completely
in
blocked
5th.
here.
I've gained some positions. Let's just watch this in slow-mo. So, I hold the inside line, which is what Alfie did in the last race, if you watched that. I think I've gained the position. Edgar takes the last corner, and I follow him through. Now, Ross just comes through. He pushes through and clips the back of Edgar, spinning him 90 degrees. I stay wide, and there's a nice kart-shaped gap there that I can squeeze through. You can see the lights are still green. It's still racing pace. We can still move and overtake. I overtook under greens. They then go yellow, which is a warning, slow down, and I cross the line and finish the race, and then they go red. So, as far as I'm concerned, I finished the race in 5th place.
And unfortunately,
which is what a lot of other people would thought as well. Now, the marshals are just running on track. There's a red flag. We all have to stop because marshals are on track. It's not safe to drive the karts. They are shuffling everything about there. So while we're sat here waiting as they sort the red flag out, let's think about how this race has unfolded for us. It was a really scruffy quali lap, but the 3rd place took me by surprise. It kind of gave me a bit of false confidence that maybe if I just tidied up how I was driving, I would be fast enough for that 3rd place. Didn't realise it was over 6.5 tenths slower than pole. That's one thing. The other thing is the amount of defence I've had to do has really just slowed the whole race. I had this third place in mind, would love to have finished the race there, but with so much defending, so much slower driving, there's no way I'm going to keep a 3rd place.
So that is the case. They have a lot more camera angles than we
and
have.
really, I guess, having foresight to think, right, that's been defended enough, this guy isn't pitting, maybe we should let him through and get on with the rest of our race. That would be mature driving, and that's another thing that I got to learn. So as you see from the final finishing positions here, I came in 5th. Ultimately, unfortunately, I didn't get to keep that 5th place. As clean as I thought it was, finishing the race under greens, if there's a red flag on the last lap and they have to stop the race, then they rewind it a lap, and those results stand. So I actually finished 7th, so I've gone from 3rd to 7th. It was a fun race, frustrating race, but hey, that's racing for you. Look, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. Really thanks for your support. It's been great. All the best. Goodbye.